he's really not a radical. He's just sort of an opportunist, you know. When he thought it was cool to be with Reverend Wright and the, you know, street organizer types, he was with them. Then when he thought it was cool to be a corporate lawyer, he was a corporate lawyer. And I mean, he just sort of agrees. So I'm sure that.
Finger in the wind.
Well, and when Geithner,
Gergen or Powell, all those guys.
Yeah, it's like and so when his own staff, Larry Summers and Secretary Geithner and so on, say, listen, what you really need to do is bail out our friends, our past and future employers, and by the way, they'll make you a millionaire too when you leave office.
Exactly.
This is good. This is social. There's a weird kind of social justice going on here. We can't quite explain it, but it's good. Give us time. It's good. Obama says, well, okay. Yeah. And you know, and then it's I mean, he's sort of smart enough to think he doesn't want to get wrapped up in theories like Bush on the neocons and liberate the world and stuff like that. So he's sort of got the basic savvy there, and I think what he'll discover is, look, I can be a left-wing martyr if I want, right? Or I can be a re-elected president, right? And if I'm a re-elected, if I really focus on what I really need around here, which is to get re-elected, right? To not be embarrassed by getting thrown out of office, then
Jimmy Carter too.
I don't want to be Carter. I want to be Clinton. I don't want to be Carter. I want to be Clinton. And in which case he'll make the changes he needs.
So you think he's going to dump this public option?
I think he'll do whatever it takes to get reelected.
Okay.
And you know, somebody will say, listen, the way to get reelected is to do the Hugo Chavez, where you indoctrinate the youth and take over the country. And
they've tried that.
They tried that. And the one little halting step they made on the back to school message, people flipped out. So it just shows. Okay, okay.
That didn't work.
The Hugo Chavez Plan B. Plan B is be a moderate centrist and be in the middle, and keep in mind that only once since 1896 in presidential history has a party lost the White House after only 4 years. There's usually a party wins. Right. They say, okay, even if that president dies or resigns or whatever, another president, there's momentum there. And the only one that says the party lost after only 4 years, that was Carter. Carter was so bad that the Democrats won the White House in 1976 and lost it in 1980.
Unbelievable. So
and I think that is Obama going to be that bad? Well, he doesn't plan to be.
He's dropping fast.
I mean, he is, but so did Clinton.
So you think he'll tack? So you think we're back to 1994?
I think so. Yeah.
Does that mean the Republicans take Congress again?
I think Obama would be better off if they did. I think it would be much better for him.
He has something to work against then.
Exactly. And no longer has to kind of, you know, be seen as
the Daily Kos guy, the Acorn guy, the Van Jones guy.
Exactly. He's now the guy. Right now, the Republicans, you know, are sort of in remission. Nobody, you know,
they need to fix that brand too. It's stale.
They do need to do all that. But
the bow ties and stuff have to go. No offense to George Will and stuff like that, but I mean, they can't appeal to anyone under 40. Oh, you know, some of those guys will push back. Oh, you're too good. Like Obama is doing Baywatch photos, and he's appearing with Kanye West and MTV. Guess what? It works.
It does. You're right. There's no question. Look. A president is, and this is you know, the behavioral psychologists who talk about how the human mind evolves.
Yes.
The president is kind of an alpha male.
Yes.
And you know, Obama is definitely an alpha.
Yeah.
And that gets him a lot of points.
Or what about Michelle? Who wears the pants in that family? I think Michelle does.
Well, if that were proven that she does,
that would change.
That would hurt him.
That would hurt him.
Right. I mean, so that's
why they pull back sometimes.
They got to be careful about all these optics of whether, you know. I mean, for example, when she got off the Air Force One in Massachusetts, she was wearing, you know, short shorts.
Right.
Robin Given, who is the Big Cheese Pulitzer Prize winning fashion writer for the Washington Post, trashed her.
Yeah.
And guess
no
what?
more shorts.
No more shorts. They're paying attention.
They are paying attention. So let's talk about that state of the media today, and the liberal mainstream media and stuff. And we've seen the networks decline. What do you think is going on, and where do you think the media is going?
I think that the obvious long-term trend of, you know, the going away from broadcast and so on. But I think, who's this guy, A.J. Keen?
I've heard of that name.
K-E-E-N, K-E-E-N. It had a book called like The Cult of the Amateur or something like that. The title was kind of misleading. Yeah. It was the point, his argument was, listen, all these sort of people who think the world's going to be nothing but 10 million bloggers, you know, are just wrong.
No, right.
Is that eventually a few bloggers will roll up their own little empires, and they, you know, and so people who are, you know, creating their own little, you know, empires of non-revenue producing stuff can do it all they want, but they'll never be able to quit their day job to do it. And so
same thing happened in radio.
I think right. Eventually, it will congeal into a few big things. I mean, his phrase, maybe a little overloaded, is digital feudalism. It'll go back to there'll be the castle, and then the peasants will be swirling around the castle, saying, you know, every now and then when the Huns show up, we got to go in the castle and be protected. And you know, so in other words, that was his argument. And I find a certain sort of the economist Villarreal Pareto, they talked about sort of there's an 80-20 rule of optimality here. I kind of think that's he's kind of figured it there, which is who knows whether the existing media conglomerates will survive, but there will be a few media conglomerates. I mean, stipulating that in a world of Twitter and cell phones, everybody can be a media person,
right?
But they can't probably make money at it unless they join some empire or coalition.
Will we have, and how strong will network news be in 10 years vis-a-vis like the cable nets?
I think network. I think cable. I mean, look, cable already. I mean, look at Fox.
Yeah, exactly.
Cable already kind of drives the process. I mean, and you could just say, you know, look, if John McCain had won, who doubts that MSNBC would be a hot network in the sense of like, hey, you know, we're out there, speaking truth to power to these evil Republicans and so on. Yeah, I think that I mean, look, people know the news. Right. I mean, by between Twitter and just walking around in the ether, you know what's going on. So what you really want is, I want a perspective, I want an attitude, I want something I didn't know, and that requires commentary and punditry and assessment. And so by 8 o'clock at night on cable news,
dead.
Well, yeah, but you're getting opinion now.
Right. Yeah, so they're adjusting.
Yeah, exactly. Say, listen, we already, you know what happened today. Okay. The market went up. Something happened.
Here's what we think about it.
Here's what we think about it. And here's what you should think too. And now, how smart we are about folding public opinion into what we're doing, and you know, having rolling polls and call-ins and Twitters and text messages, and who knows? That's all to be figured out. But I think that will be. Keith Olbermann speaks for me. Bill O'Reilly speaks for me. Sean Hannity, whoever. You know, John speaks for me. I mean, whoever it might be. There'll be a few of those who emerge as leaders of identifiable schools.
So, I want to know what you think about that, the new media, and then you can talk about what we're doing, conservative new media. I mean, we get, you guys see this, we get a little intense, a little out there, but we do it in a fun way, in a playful way, trying to make it sort of entertaining and compelling. And I mean, what do people on your end of it think about the new media, and think about, you know, sort of our work and these, you know, people trying to make noise?
Well, take this case of. I'm not even sure who they're affiliated with, but these two young people who did the Acorn stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was hot.
O'Keefe and Giles, their names.
The Sting.
The Sting. Yeah, I mean, you know, what category do they fall into? I mean, they clearly fall into the general realm of sort of what we could call new conservative media. You know, right? NCM. You know, for lack of a better acronym. And you know, I mean, I would, you know. Wouldn't be surprised if they pop up somewhere in doing something like that. I mean, who knows? They have invented a new style that, I mean, or borrowed a style from, say, 60 Minutes. So instead of going to corporate suites and doing the hidden camera stuff, you're now going to.
That's like the real reporting now.
That's right. They're doing real reporting. Yeah. I mean, no. And so in other words, if Fox gets credit and deserves credit for knocking off Van Jones, then who deserves credit for taking down Acorn? I mean, Acorn has now kind of been a tumble now in terms of like they're getting defunded everywhere and stuff like that. And that's just, I mean, journalism schools and professors will be studying
this whole
tweets and saying who was first tweeting about Acorn, you know, a year or two ago or whatever.
How big of a black eye was Van Jones for the mainstream media in not covering the New York Times and CBS before he resigned?
I think it was scandalous. Yeah. I mean, I think that if anybody like that in a
oh my gosh,
Nixon or
come on, look what they did to Brownie, and he was just like, you know.
Yeah. I mean, no, it was, and their sort of unapologeticness for it. I mean, Chuck Todd of NBC was saying, well, even after the fact, you know, I don't think it was a big story. Newsbusters had that. It was just so. Again, it's why people don't trust the media, and they shouldn't.
So, who is, in your mind, if I can get you to name names, the best and worst media personalities out there? You know, Beck, Overman, Rush. You know, who do you like? Who do you think, both professionally and maybe behind the scenes? If you want, I'll let you roll with that.
I still like Drudge.
Drudge is good.
I like Drudge. I think that in the sense that he doesn't overtly put his finger on the. I mean, he's clearly got an attitude and opinion and a set of issues he worries about, but it's not about him. It's the headline.
The stories drive it.
The story drives it. Now, in the end, you make more money by becoming a personality. That's just the reality.
Yes.
So Drudge has just chosen, you know, to not make himself. You can't even find his picture on the site. I mean, this is my homepage. What can I say? What greater compliment can you pay to somebody?
Yeah.